Deep in the heart of Central Africa, beyond the rivers and dense tropical forests, lie communities untouched by modernity. These tribes, isolated for centuries, have preserved customs that defy Western logic and intrigue anthropologists worldwide. Among their most enigmatic practices is body painting performed not in daylight for ceremonies, but before the quiet hours of the night. This film takes you on an immersive journey to uncover the reasons behind this nocturnal ritual. Why do they paint their bodies before sleep? Is it for beauty, protection, or something beyond our comprehension? As the sun sets and shadows stretch across the forest floor, an ancient rhythm begins, a rhythm that binds tradition, spirituality, and survival in ways rarely seen before. Welcome to the world of the forgotten tribes, where every brushstroke tells a story older than time. The Congo Basin, spanning over 3.6 million square kilometers, is the lungs of Africa and home to some of its most secluded peoples. Thick jungles, winding rivers, and an almost impenetrable canopy have protected these tribes from external influence for millennia. This isolation has allowed unique cultural practices to flourish, practices like nighttime body painting, which would be unimaginable in urban societies. Here, survival depends not only on skill, but on harmony with the environment. Nightfall in these regions is not silent. It hums with the sounds of insects, distant animal calls, and the crackle of fires as families gather in their huts. Yet, as darkness deepens, the tribes engage in an intimate and sacred art. They mix pigments from minerals, plants, and ash, preparing patterns that only their ancestors could interpret. For these communities, the jungle is not a backdrop. It is a living force shaping every belief and ritual that sustains them. As dusk descends, the tribes enter a liminal space between day and night, the known and the unknown. Painting begins only when the last embers of sunlight fade, marking the transition into a realm ruled by spirits. Men, women, and even children sit in circles around low fires, grinding pigments in stone bowls. The colors white from ash, red from clay, black from charcoal, are symbols of protection and connection. The act is meticulous. Strokes drawn along the arms, spirals across the chest, dots marking the face. Each pattern is intentional, believed to shield the soul from wandering entities that emerge under moonlight. These designs are not mere decoration. They are spiritual armor, a dialogue with unseen forces. For outsiders, the ritual might seem artistic, even aesthetic. But for the tribes, it is survival in its purest form, a bridge between human fragility and the mysteries of the night. To understand these markings, one must decode their language. Spirals represent continuity and life's cyclical nature. Lines across the limbs signify strength and unity. Dots near the eyes are said to heighten spiritual vision. Colors carry profound significance. White embodies purity and ancestral guidance. Red speaks of vitality and blood, and black warns of danger lurking in darkness. These patterns are more than symbols. They are living prayers etched on flesh, a testament to beliefs passed down orally through countless generations. Elders teach the young the meanings, ensuring the knowledge endures. Unlike modern tattoos or fashion statements, these designs are ephemeral, fading with sweat and sleep, only to be renewed the next night. This impermanence reflects a worldview centered on cycles, impermanence, and rebirth. For these tribes, body painting is not an art form. It is an existential act that binds the living to the unseen, the present to the eternal. In the tribe's cosmology, night is perilous. Darkness invites spirits, both benevolent and malevolent, who roam freely when the sun vanishes. According to oral tradition, unpainted skin is vulnerable, a beacon to wandering entities that feed on human essence. Body painting serves as camouflage, disguising the soul from predatory forces. It is believed that spirits are drawn to bare light emitted by exposed flesh. Pigments disrupt this glow, rendering the individual invisible to harmful beings. Elders recount stories of hunters who neglected the ritual and never returned, their absence blamed on spiritual abduction. Painting before sleep is thus a collective shield, ensuring the safety of the entire community. Beyond superstition, this practice reinforces cohesion. Each member contributes to the other's designs, weaving a fabric of trust and interdependence. In these moments of intimacy and ritual, fear transforms into resilience, and vulnerability becomes strength. The pigments are not mere colors. They carry medicinal properties rooted in centuries of empirical knowledge. White ash contains compounds that repel insects, offering a natural barrier against malaria-bearing mosquitoes. Red clay is rich in iron and believed to strengthen the body's energy flow. Charcoal acts as a detoxifying agent, drawing out impurities from the skin. Some pigments are mixed with herbal extracts, known for their calming effects, aiding in restful sleep and vivid dreams. In this sense, the painting ritual is both spiritual and pragmatic, a holistic approach to health. The act of application, often accompanied by chants, becomes a therapeutic process, soothing anxiety and reinforcing communal bonds. For the tribes, science and spirituality are not separate domains, but intertwined realities. What appears as simple ornamentation is, in truth, a sophisticated system of preventive medicine disguised in ritual artistry. Modernity encroaches silently, like a rising tide. Logging companies carve roads into the forest, missionaries preach new faiths, and young tribe members, lured by promises of education and employment, migrate to towns. With them, ancestral practices like body painting begin to fade. What was once a nightly ritual is now seen by some as primitive or irrelevant. Elders mourn this erosion, fearing that when the last painter lays down his brush, an entire cosmology will vanish. The pigments, once symbols of resilience, now struggle against forces of globalization. Documenting these traditions is not an act of nostalgia, but of preservation, a reminder that diversity enriches humanity's collective soul. Without urgent efforts to protect these cultures, the forest will lose more than trees. It will lose voices that have whispered wisdom for thousands of years, a silence far more devastating than any ecological disaster. What can a distant tribe teach a hyperconnected planet? Perhaps that identity is not found in progress, but in connection to land, to community, to the unseen rhythms of existence. In an age obsessed with permanence, digital archives, skyscrapers, and synthetic immortality, these ephemeral body paintings speak of a profound truth. Beauty and meaning reside in impermanence. Each night, the paint fades, and each dawn, life begins anew. This cycle, embraced rather than resisted, offers a lesson our modern world desperately needs. As you watch the final strokes being applied under the glow of firelight, ask yourself, in your own life, what rituals protect your soul? The forgotten tribes of Central Africa may seem remote, yet their wisdom echoes universally. To paint before sleep is not merely a tradition. It is an act of hope, courage, and faith in the unseen forces that cradle us through the darkness. Among these tribes, body painting is not a gender-exclusive ritual, but a shared responsibility that strengthens intergenerational ties. Women often lead the preparation of pigments, passing down secret formulas that combine earth, plant sap, and charcoal. Men contribute by collecting specific minerals from remote riverbeds or mountains, sometimes traveling days to find the right shade of clay. Children observe in silence at first, later assisting with simple strokes before mastering the art themselves. Painting sessions become classrooms without wall spaces where language, myths, and values are transmitted alongside practical skills. Elders tell stories of legendary ancestors whose patterns could summon rain or ward off predators, embedding moral lessons in visual design. In a world where modern education often replaces tradition, these nightly gatherings ensure that identity is not lost. Through these patterns, wisdom flows like a living river, connecting generations and sustaining the tribe's sense of self. The fate of this practice hangs by a fragile thread. As climate change alters landscapes and external contact accelerates, many fear that body painting will vanish within a few decades. Some anthropologists advocate for cultural preservation programs, but such efforts often clash with the tribe's desire for autonomy. Could tourism provide a lifeline, or would it commodify a sacred ritual? The answer is complex, yet one truth remains. When the last pigment fades on unpainted skin, humanity loses more than color. It loses an entire worldview rooted in harmony with nature and the unseen. This documentary closes with a challenge. Will we stand by as these traditions disappear, or will we value their wisdom before it is too late? For in the fading patterns of a forgotten tribe lies a mirror reflecting our own disconnection, and perhaps a path back to meaning.